about that, everybody who was tuned in. We ran into a bit of a technical error. For those of you who are just now tuning in, welcome to the third episode of the Mustapha's Game Room podcast adventure. We were just watching the ukulele trailer, and
that is much smoother now.
Was not paying any attention to it because, stuff. So what I think we're gonna do now is I'm gonna get rid of some of these things we got going
Ukulele
here.
crashed our
system. We're gonna watch that
good.
trailer again. And sorry for those of you who love HD, I'm playing it safe and I'm running this at 480. So
that's fine, as long as it runs. That's what matters.
Yeah. Hey Jeremy, since you got eyes on the stream, tell me if it's just the video that's messing us up.
Absolutely. The video is coming in. A little choppy, but it's coming in.
Okay.
Oh, that game looks so good.
Yeah,
it really does. It's promising to be. It looks like the exact same formula and very similar gameplay to the Banjo-Kazooie franchise, which 1 and 2, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, were phenomenal games. They still hold up gameplay-wise today. Graphically, obviously, they look pretty bad, but gameplay-wise, they're still funny. The writing is still good, the music is still beautiful, and they got Grant Kirkhope back for the music of this game, and it feels just perfect.
You can tell just by listening to it. Oh, it's wonderful.
Yes. Look at that, and the game is just so beautiful. It is really taking advantage of how good games can look in 2016 without trying to do anything close to photorealism. It all still looks very cartoony, very hand-painted, but it just looks fantastic, very smooth.
Yeah, now, I never really played the Banjo-Kazooie games as a kid, but I was really into Donkey Kong 64. That was my rare game of choice. And it's nice to see that, they're very stylized. Oh, excuse me. They have a real sort of formula to the things they do. And, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And it's like gameplay-wise, obviously those two games have a difference, but Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie are both at their heart sort of like open-world adventure collectathons with some light but still pretty good combat mechanics. All in all, those games are just fantastic with funny writing and really well-designed characters. So Ukulele looks fantastic.
I think probably my favorite thing about Rare games is the way music changes based on your surroundings, but it's all sort of derivative of the same tune depending on what section of the game you're in. I think
those games just as a whole have great atmosphere.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go into our next
one sec. The music that had really good music. It was kind of like a kid's game like this. Was The Blob? Do you remember when we watched Brad play The Blob?
Yes.
And we were listening to it because I think it had something to do with when he was painting or when he was collecting stuff. The music, everything went with the rhythm of the music. That was really cool. That was I don't know, one of those things that they just threw in a really good music aesthetic, but it didn't really have anything to do with gameplay. But it was really fun to watch anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed watching that game too. And it's available on PS now, so if anybody's interested to see what we're talking about, I believe it's called The Blob 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Good looking game, I think each color had a different sound effect, is what it was.
That's what it was.
As you were painting the world, each color had a different sort of tune associated with it, which was really detailed, It was awesome. Okay, let's, James, you're kind of going to be in charge of delivering this bit. It's about a new indie game that taken to Kickstarter. So, you want to give us a little bit of detail on that? I don't know if you know anything about it. Probably not. You're not good for much.
I assume you're talking about this game, a little game by the name of Zed.
Yes.
It's currently going through its month-long Kickstarter right now. Zed is a game that I have the privilege of working on as a little intern, and I get to work alongside a very experienced artist by the name of Chuck Carter, who's creating this amazing game. about an artist who's dying and losing his memory, and you go through his like dreamscapes, and there's all kinds of really beautiful like worlds and places to explore, and it heavily reflects Myst, which is a game that Chuck created, I believe, half of the art assets for.
That's amazing.
On the original game. Yeah, so I'm really, inspired when I get to help work on this game. Someone so he's been in it for so long.
Got a little visual of that actually up here. Let me just move our faces out of the way.
Got those?
Yeah, we got the nice picture of one of the environments from the Kickstarter page. It's really nice looking.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this. It's some crazy good art, so I'm just like I just want to be able to keep up. But yeah, it's going through Kickstarter now. Kickstarter's going to be done in a couple at the end of this month. So fingers crossed that we make it, so this game will be...
Yeah, it looks like you guys are pretty far along.
Yeah, I'm hoping the momentum continues, but I guess we'll see. I'm just the intern, so I'm just kind of taking a backseat on this project, so by all means don't think that I helped create much of this world.
It'll be like, do you see that blade of grass? I did that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, still pretty cool though, you know?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm pumped about it. So, yeah, anyone who wants to donate, please do. It's going to be a good game.
All right. Ooh, this next bit of news is something kind of near and dear to me.
Sure.
As a fan of the fighting game series, or fighting game, I guess, Injustice: Gods Among Us, there was a leak yesterday about that game saying that the sequel, Injustice 2, was coming out, and that leak has today become confirmation. So we have our first trailer for that, which I'm going to pull up in just a second, and we're gonna have a look. It's mostly cinematic. It's a teaser, not much gameplay to it. So all right, here we go. Alright, yeah. It's definitely the videos that are giving us any quality issues. So we're gonna not with this trailer and say we did. But basically,
Rip.
So far the theme for this game is armor. So
ooh,
basically, I think there's gonna be like customizable armor for every character in the game.
Yeah, I'm just watching the trailer still. The Flash looks really cool. I love armored Flash.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though it kind of goes against what he's kind of trying to be a little more streamlined.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
if you're fighting Superman, you need armor. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's also like the developer NetherRealm, they work on the Mortal Kombat games, and so I think they're trying to find as many ways to incorporate as much savagery into any game they make as possible. And so the more armor you put on these DC characters, the more brutal things you can have them do to each other, you know, without the repercussions of scaring away little Timmy who wants to play as Superman. So, I'm excited about this game. I was a big fan of the first one. You know, I played through the story. Our friend Brad played through the story several times. I can quote the Joker's speech almost word for word.
Oh my gosh. You played it way too many times.
Yeah, no, it's...
I'm just... The armor, at the end of the trailer there is very impressive. Mm-hmm. It's all, like, Transformer-y, kind of, like, coming all over them.
And I think given timing, so the first game came out pretty shortly after Mortal Kombat 9, and so a lot of the features in those two games were very similar, and you could note a lot of very obvious similarities. I think this game's going to be the same way with Mortal Kombat X, where we're going to see a lot of the features that made that game one of the biggest fighting games of the year, you know. I think we're going to see a lot of that stuff sort of translate over into this title, which I'm pretty excited for because I really liked Mortal Kombat X. And
do you see like any? There's, I mean, obviously they're very similar genre, made by the same people. Are there any like things that are almost identical between the two games? Of like would you say they almost reskin Mortal Kombat and for Injustice, or would you say that
That's a good question.
I would say a lot of elements were very heavily borrowed to the point where Scorpion from Mortal Kombat's even a playable character in Injustice. But
Yeah.
I think that they did do enough different where I wouldn't call it a reskin. You know, like
Good.
A lot of the characters' fighting styles were very clearly heavily inspired by characters from Mortal Kombat. Like, the Flash was very eerily similar to Cabal from Mortal Kombat, who also has super speed. And a lot of the grappling hook maneuvers of Batman were very similar to Scorpion. But, I wouldn't call them identical. No, I would say that there are enough.
Even if they were, I probably wouldn't have a problem with that because it would, like, I don't really have much interest in playing Mortal Kombat, but I'd have a lot more interest in playing the exact same game if it had superheroes that I was a big fan of in it. Like, if they did like a Halo skin of it, I'd be all into it, on it. So
yeah, I think
it wouldn't be the worst thing.
I think that's a territory they're trying to stay away from, though. Like not last year, but several years ago when the first Injustice was in development, I remember during an interview, one of the WB employees was saying that they really want people to look at this game and say, hey, this is a different thing. This is a whole different IP. It's a fighting game. This isn't Mortal Kombat, Which they did a fantastic job of by including a Mortal Kombat character in the game.
Even still, you can probably confidently say they're doing it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this game, will be no different. So, alright, I have something here on Kingdom Hearts 2.8, but I don't want to talk about that.
None of us are Kingdom Hearts experts.
Yeah. I mean,
unfortunately, we do have a Kingdom Hearts expert here at Mustapha's game room, but she's at work today, so she cannot give us the scoop.
Be on the podcast, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about Kingdom Hearts while we're speculating whether or not it's going to be at E3, which I think is going to be probably one of the biggest conversations we have, because that game has been teased, and, we've been taunted with it for several years. I mean, I think the same day, in fact, the same presentation that Final Fantasy 15 was announced, Kingdom Hearts 3 was also announced. And we just got a release date for Final Fantasy 15. This was like 3 years ago. So this was a long time ago. And these games still aren't out yet, So, we're definitely going to have to... We'll have to see about that, in the coming week.
Yeah.
Alright, these next bit of news here, these notes you guys added, so if you want to just...
Oh, geez. Yeah, let's take a look here. We got a Justice.
Just some quick stuff. We have 2 interesting tidbits from Overwatch. Overwatch has now been out for, I believe, a week and a half? Going on about a week and a half. Going on 2 weeks, I think, actually.
About 2 weeks.
And they've hit 7 million players, which is very, very cool. A lot of people are playing Overwatch. I know my Steam friends list used to be 24/7 people playing Dota, and now it's constantly just offline, and I have them all on Battle.net, and they all play Overwatch, and that's where I'm at right now. And another bit of Overwatch news, Overwatch wants to make sure that the game is fair and fun for everyone, and they also want to create a bit of a competitive scene, so they are cracking down on hackers. In China alone, 1,572 people have been banned entirely from Battle.net, and that means even if you buy the game again, even if you try to play other stuff, you're banned from playing online. You can't do it anymore. I heard a story about someone that hacked, got caught, they made a new Battle.net account, they bought the game again, and then they got banned again, even without hacking on that one. Blizzard is taking no prisoners when it comes to hackers in this game. So if you're looking for a game that's safe to play, like you don't want to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 or 2 on PC because everybody's hacking, Overwatch is doing its absolute best to make sure that everyone's playing fair.
That's so awesome. I'm so happy about that because it's such a good game, and so enforce the law because I don't know how to hack and I don't want anyone hacking, and it's stupid. So.
Exactly. I want to play the game and I want to win by my own merit.
I love how much, like how severe the punishment is. You hack once and you can't play pretty much any Battle.net game ever.
You're done.
You're done with Blizzard.
In other news,
I just saw this comment from Dr. Lovebox. Superman needs armor. Why though?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, I get
cool.
it. I get it. I mean, it's all about. I think it's all going to be a game of, you know, customizing your character, and that's what they're sort of putting their main focus on for this. So I'm down with it. I like.
Yeah, I'm not a fighting game fan, but that appeals to me a lot. Yeah.
Any character customization is good.
Yep.
James, do you want to take the other 2 little bits of news here?
Yeah. What else we got? We got the Vive. They seem to after a whirlwind of a launch, after like it's been like 2 years of them like really getting the Vive out there. They've totally got their legs underneath them now, and they are ready to just start pumping out these Vives. So apparently, the news is that orders, if you order a Vive, it will be shipped within 2 to 3 days.
That's amazing. It used to be that you ordered it and it shipped a month and a half later.
Yeah, so they're actually getting things going, and also they're even putting Vives in stores, in physical stores, so you can actually go to select stores, probably, you know, in the more densely populated areas. Mustapha, maybe there'll be one in the Providence Mall, who knows, but like I think they said like a couple of GameStops and then 2 other like tech stores that I haven't heard of before because I'm in rural Maine. They're going to be putting units out there for people to pick up in store for the Vive, so that's awesome that people can go and actually buy it, which means it's getting into the hands even easier of your regular consumer, which means VR is catching on, which is goddamn exciting.
Oh my goodness, why did I not... we probably went over this last week, but I want to talk about it anyway, because we lost like everything last week. So
we did.
There was a report about the Nintendo NX, the home console, saying that the reason why they've delayed it until next year is because, and they've actually halved the amount that they're manufacturing for launch, is because they want to incorporate VR into the console.
Which I think will be really crappy and gimmicky, and then we'll ignore it and move on.
I mean... So here's the thing, right? Well, first of all, it's automatically, you talk about VR and Nintendo, and you're already stepping into sketchy territory, right? Because, you know, that has a history. It does. Those 2 words together have a history. It's called the Virtual Boy. And that is literally the most failed console Nintendo's ever had.
They'll never do it again.
The Virtual Boy is one of gaming's greatest jokes, and so it scares me a little bit to see them walking this direction. Primarily because
I'm sure they've made the mistakes.
It's like, I mean, and I don't know if I'm right to be scared, because don't get me wrong, Nintendo's a company where if you put an idea in their hands, they can make it work, but VR is so heavily dependent on the technology you're using, and Nintendo's never been a company to stay on the up and up in way of, you know, power, and that's gonna be a bad thing. That's just generally not gonna do well.
That's just how it is. I mean, consoles like the PlayStation 4 with their VR, that hardware is just barely powerful enough to give you a kind of comfortable experience, and the headset itself is sort of on the lower end, so it's even then restricting. And as history has shown us, Nintendo's consoles have never been hardware-wise as powerful as the other people from their generation, which means that if you're doing VR on the NX, it might not run at the 75 frames a second that it actually needs, and that's going to lead to motion sickness and an unenjoyable experience.
But you know what? This is technically Nintendo's crack at the next gen, not this current one. So I'm wondering if, you know, I mean, their console for this gen is as powerful as last gen. So if they keep to that trend, maybe the NX will be as powerful as the PS4? I don't know.
Here's my theory. You ready for this? So with VR, as we all know, everyone has 2 eyeballs. And so VR headsets require 2 screens. 2.
Two?
You know what already has 2 screens?
Yes,
Dual screens?
The Nintendo DS?
So
Put a
here's my
DS in a Google Cardboard.
Exactly. Put a DS on your face. That's my guess. I'm calling it now. I'm guessing they're going to make a new DS that is like the Samsung Gear in the ways that you play with it and then you put it on your face. That's my guess.
That's another part of the report. They confirmed that the NX will indeed incorporate a handheld element to it that will coincide with a home console station.
Ooh, baby.
Forget all of the VR stuff that Nintendo's talking about. I don't care. I honestly think that it's going to be like the AR on the DS, and we're just going to forget that it's even there. But the most important thing to me is that it's looking more and more like the NX is going to be a handheld console that you can then play on your TV when you're at home. Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing to me. Being able to play a game sitting before a class, on a train, on a bus, on a ride somewhere, playing a game on my little handheld device, and then when I'm at home, I can plug it into the TV and play it on a big screen. I don't even care if it's HD. I just want to have that kind of functionality. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, PlayStation Vita kind of had a similar thing with remote play of PS4 games. This would be different because we'd presume that people are going to buy the Nintendo console.
Get wrecked.
Total joke. Partial joke.
Sorry, Sony.
No, but I think that it's so weird. It's weird because it's like the 3DS is in a place where its momentum has not slowed in the past 5 years. And the console still sells itself, and there are still big titles on the way. And so it's like, it's a little bit strange to see Nintendo going in this direction where they're like, well, we're going to announce a new handheld, but, the 3DS is nowhere near done. Like, at the end of the DS's lifespan, it was like, there's nothing else we can really do here, right? The hardware was kind of pushed to the max, and we were at a point where we were getting, like, fashion games and drawing games. And, when you get to that point, it's time to retire your console. But the 3DS, there's a Kirby game that just came out. Fire Emblem Fates just launched a few months ago. There's still DLC that's going to be funneling out for that game. So it's a little bit weird to see Nintendo taking this direction. I get it because the Wii U has been performing so poorly sales-wise. But they're still at a place where fiscally they're reporting profits every year. Thanks to, peripherals and, again, the 3DS. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I think that, and this is the worst part, is that we're getting all this information, and Nintendo is saying that this E3, they're not having their standard direct, they're not doing the same type of quality announcements that they do every year, and it's like, is this really the time? This is the Electronic Entertainment Expo. For people in the tech industry, this is the biggest week of the year. If you have something big that you want to showcase, now is the time, and they were able to pick up that momentum with the Wii, with the original DS, 3DS, Wii U, partially because of the way that they announced them, which were at these huge events with these large, eager crowds. I wonder how they're going to make up for that, because I don't think
so what are they doing in the way of announcements at E3? Are they just doing something small, or
they're doing their live treehouse thing, where they are going to spend a lot of the time on The Legend of Zelda and the 2 new Pokemon games that are coming out. And then they're gonna...
About hardware?
I don't know. They haven't rumored anything about talking about...
Maybe they'll surprise everyone.
Nintendo last year at E3 said, here's a Smash presentation about all the DLC we have planned for the next year. And then at the end of the presentation said, just kidding, this is out now. So, we really don't know.
Gotcha.
They could do literally anything, and nobody's ever ready for it. But if they're doing what they planned on doing, what they've been saying they're going to do, this isn't going to be a good E3 for them. And it's not going to appeal to a lot of people, because they're not talking about announcing things. They're talking about showing us a game that's been in limbo for 3 years. And, they made that same mistake last year, where it was like, here's our centerpiece, it's Star Fox Zero. When's the last time you heard about Star Fox Zero? I mean, it's out. It got some pretty mediocre reviews. It's not these centerpiece games. It doesn't work anymore. It only works for Smash Bros. So I don't know why they think it works every year. It doesn't. Even what some would consider one of their most successful ones 2 years ago. It was Smash Bros was the game that everybody was looking at. We had the Invitational Tournament, which was like the longest we'd actually gotten to see gameplay footage of Smash Wii U. And then they announced Splatoon, and that was huge. But it was still, at the end of the day, like, what are they going to say about Smash Bros. This year? That's why everybody was tuned in, And I think Zelda is the type of series that might be able to pull that off, but because...
I think especially with Zelda U, it could be hype enough.
Yeah, but with, with all the time that it's been in development, like, I know myself personally, like, when they announced that game, I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited, I'm going to buy this launch day, and now I'm like, oh, cool, Zelda Wii U. I forgot about that. People are losing interest.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
The hype train can only go for so long.
Exactly, and now it's like, is there going to be Zelda NX now? And it's like, well, now I'm not buying this for Wii U. Because why would I do that to myself when it's going to come out for presumably a more powerful console?
Yeah. I'm just hoping for a surprise. You said they were kind of a little bit of a surprise with the DLC last year. I just hope they do like a surprise showing off the NX, maybe.
I think if they're going to be showing off Zelda for a whole day, show us Zelda on the console that it's meant to be played on.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what that console is. It's not the Wii U, because if it were, it wouldn't be coming out for the NX. If it were supposed to be for Wii U, it'd be coming out this year.
Exactly. It's an NX title that they're also putting on the Wii U, because they know people already have it.
Yeah.
I almost said everyone. A lot of people.
Not everyone, but a lot of people. I'm excited. I am. I know for a fact that I'm the type of person who's going to buy the NX regardless of what it is. And I'm probably going to buy Zelda, but, it's like, give us something. Give us something exciting to sort of look at.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, a console announcement, this is the climate for that. It just is.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about their VR tech. Everybody's got something to announce right now. Even Sony, I guarantee you one of the centerpieces of Sony's press conference is going to be PlayStation VR. And, this is the time. A new technology has reached the forefront of the industry, and Nintendo's always been the one to sort of say, hey, let's see how we can do this in a different direction. Like they did with the Wii, In a time where HD was the thing, they said, wave this wand and use motion controls. And everybody was like, no, and then 26 million people did it.
So, as it turns out, yeah. But who knows? Because, with stuff like that, it can be a swing and a miss.
Absolutely.
Or it'll absolutely destroy it. So we just have to hope that we'll get a little more NX information. Maybe they'll surprise us.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing, is that, Nintendo's one of those companies that's very heavily influenced by stockholders. And events like E3, those stockholders are paying close attention. So, if they don't have something, like I remember after one of the E3 announcements, or no, it was when they announced the Wii U's launch date and some of the launch titles, Nintendo's stock plummeted. It was pretty embarrassing, actually. And that's the type of stuff that they really have to watch out for when they're doing all this stuff. Yeah. So
our in-depth Nintendo expert.
Yeah. So, guys, we're about 30 minutes in. So, what I want to do here is have about, 15, 20 minutes of E3 discussion. I know we talk Nintendo, but I've been doing on the blog and on MMOExaminer, I've been doing these sort of retrospective series where I'm looking back at previous, E3s and seeing, how some of the patterns from those previous ones could influence the type of stuff that we're going to be seeing this year. So, if you guys could think of anything in particular that you're excited about, I would like that. And I'm going to pull up some of the stuff that I have here on what we can expect, I think.
Well, I guess my question for you would be, what was the big overarching theme of last year? Or was there not one?
That actually... Oh,
it's a great question.
We lost the footage of that last week, but we did have that conversation. Autonomy, I think, was the big theme. You had a lot of, game series really stepping in this open world direction where it was all about player choice, right? And I think the ideal example of that was Ubisoft, as always, because they're a company that is about molding your own experience. You're not going to go to any other press conference or watch any other press conference and see a live performance by Flo Rida to advertise Just Dance, and then in the same breath, a South Park parody RPG, and then shortly after that, a game like The Division. You know, they are arguably among the most versatile of developers, and when I say Autonomy, the game that comes to mind to me is Ghost Recon Wildlands. Because Ghost Recon's always been a pretty linear tactical shooter series, and this game is taking much more of an open world approach. And so that, that was one of the biggest announcements last year. And then you had something like The Division, which I can't say I know a whole lot about, but I know you two have played it. Would you say that there's an element of autonomy in that game? Would you say?
I mean, it's an MMO, so by definition, yes.
Yeah.
Is it a good MMO is a whole nother question, as
I
people
know
are finding out the end game content is incredibly lacking.
Yeah, there's been a lot of issues with that. Oh, you know what? Last year's biggest E3 announcement, Fallout 4. You know, the entire time they were talking, it's like, oh, the robot says your name, and, here's the man and the woman, and pick one, and, all this sort of stuff. And then they were like, the physical Pip-Boy release, which I'm sure is just tragic to bring up for most fans, but sorry.
And pre-orders quickly enough.
It's that whole thing was about setting up your experience. I think one of my favorite things that was said during that announcement was second screen experiences are stupid, but this one's actually really good.
That was a good second screen experience. I forgot about that. I actually got to play with it. And then Jeremy hijacked my Pip-Boy and started changing my clothes while I was trying to play.
Yep. That's what I'm here for.
That was amazing.
And then it was like...
Sorry.
For Bethesda especially, because they had a lot of it was like, I think there was something about Doom, and is there map building in that game?
Yes, there is.
Okay, yeah, I know that was a big focus, so I mean, I know Bethesda and Ubisoft, and then there was for EA, which I think is also going to be one of the biggest games talked about this year, is Mass Effect Andromeda, which I mean, BioWare. If that company's name doesn't scream autonomy to you, you're not familiar with their content, So I think that last year the focus was how can players customize and manipulate their own experience, and I'm wondering, I'm not quite sure what I think this year's theme will be, to be honest.
It's not easy to say.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe what was the theme of PAX? You said multiplayer.
I said
right?
multiplayer and VR. Yeah. Most of the games I saw that people were playing, I mean, look at the games that we played. You guys were into Due Process, and then there was Moon Hunters and Battleborn and Overwatch.
Yeah, I don't think I played many single-player games at all.
Multiplayer was the big deal,
Yeah.
And then there was the VR element, which was, I mean, Jeremy, you worked a booth with a VR game. And you guys you're a university, and your booth had a VR game. PlayStation had their VR headset. There was VR everywhere. So those two things were very prominent. I think VR is going to have a presence at E3. I think that PAX is much more consumer friendly, and so, hey, here's this shiny new thing is much more acceptable there. E3 is a trade event, right? So it's got this element of how deep into new territory do we want to go while we've got this audience of, potential money, essentially, in a way that customers aren't. This is an audience of press, of peers, of other developers. It's a different atmosphere. It's still an atmosphere about hype, but I don't think VR is going to have as strong of a presence at E3 as it did at PAX.
And then it's also like,
absolutely.
Fair enough.
VR is also a lot more difficult to demonstrate on something like E3, where it's someone on a stage showing you something, when VR is best experienced by doing it.
Yeah. Well,
Which is when something like PAX, where you can wait in line and see it, is what actually sells it.
From a show floor perspective, actually, I think VR will be on the show floor. But E3 is also much bigger than PAX. So, which is weird because it has less attendees, but it's a higher profile event. So devs make sure to bring, all the demos. Like, and I think that's another key element of it is that a lot of games get announced at PAX or at E3 rather, and it's like, here's this new game, and now here it is on the show floor. So there's much more sort of consumable content. And I think that a new medium, especially one that requires a lot of physical space, is going to get lost, in that theater or show floor or whatever.
I was going to say, I think there's going to be a bunch of announcements for companies trying their hand at VR and being like, here's a trailer for a VR game we're making. Yeah. It's coming. It's going to be a while.
It'll be out, maybe.
Yeah, but this is what we got. And maybe it'll, keep adding fuel to the fire of VR, and people are like, okay, I gotta get a headset because this is gonna be amazing. And maybe it'll set like a deadline for everyone to have a headset. I don't know. Maybe that's another guess.
I think that Sony will definitely have some more information on their VR headset.
Absolutely.
What it'll be and when it'll be available.
And why you have to buy the PS4K to use it. Which would suck.
That's not gonna happen.
Which would suck a lot, by the way. Oh yeah. Also the PS4 4K iteration. I'm gonna come back.
Yeah, the PS 4.5, whatever that is.
One thing I was gonna say, James, in response to what you said, I was gonna say the only time this statement's ever true is when you're exploring new territories, and that's that indie developers have a huge leg up here over AAA, because if a company like, a lot of these companies, AAA companies, have, especially in recent years, benefited from sequels and remasters, which were also a key theme at last year's E3, by the way.
That's
remasters.
True. That's a good point.
And so, it's hard for a developer with that much of a reputation to step out of their comfort zone and explore a new IP. And so then you have this issue of, I have this VR experience with this beloved, IP. How do I do this in a way that doesn't make people lose trust? Like, I can think of a prime example, the Kinect, where there were a lot of games like, lucky for them, like the Sonic series was already having their troubles, but like Sonic Freeriders, Kinect exclusive game. My friend told me at one point he was required to hold hands with the person he was playing with. Like, that's not okay.
Weird.
That's strange. It's
way different.
It's not. That's weird. Like, that's and so you take this IP that people are already into, and you're kind of doing weird stuff with it. You're stepping out of the comfort zone, and I think that is riskier than, say, an independent developer who can be like, hey, this is a brand new idea. This was tailor-made for VR, and you don't have to trust us, but if we're making this experience built from the ground up for this platform. This isn't us trying to tap into a fad the way a lot of these AAA companies are going to try to do. Taking what they perceive as a gimmick and slapping their brand on it and saying, well, here, now you can do, I don't know, Super Mario Ballet in VR. Like,
I'll take it.
Yeah, So
yeah, it's not easy to predict the future. That's why no one does it.
Absolutely. Well, some people do. They're like psychics.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate conversation, though. I don't want to get into a debate about that. You're wrong, but I don't want to debate you. Okay, yeah, I like that. Talk about the theme. Remasters and remakes. We were talking about that.
I hope that's going to stop. I think we'll see a lot less this year because the new consoles aren't new anymore, and so like it's time to start having.
It's time to start making actual games again.
Yeah.
Then again, we are in this very rough area of. It's happening in movies a lot, I can see as well, but so also games where it's really tough to think of something new and big that you can sell.
Yeah.
People really like what they can remember, and you know the stories of games from the past, and they sold well, and there's a lot of people who still enjoy them, so it's just an easy market to sell to.
Yeah,
I think
and also
so.
the battle
it's
that
kinda
we
safe.
as an industry have, over something like movies, is that our market is now saturated with content in a way that it never really has been before, thanks to, like over the past few years through crowdfunding and everything, independent games have become like they're just as important at these events as AAA titles are, and so now it's not just a thing of it's hard to come up with something new, it's that you have 50 other developers who are already doing it, so it's not even new anymore. You just thought of it, and the idea is already being used by someone else.
Exactly.
And they're focused on the mechanics because they don't have the budget to make their game as pretty as yours. So, they're going to have it in a way that's much more refined than what you're doing. So, it's tough. So a lot of people are going to be leaning on remakes, and I think that we're going to see a lot more of that this year. You think it's going to be on a decline? I would disagree.
I think it's going to be less.
That.
Okay.
I think more. And
to keep a tally of how many there are going to be,
yeah.
I'm going to say less than. Well, how many games do you think are going to be announced?
And I would say per
like new games, or like things that new games and remasters that we just haven't heard of prior to E3. Is that the question?
Yeah. How many?
40.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to say
I would say
less
there will
than
be at
5.
least. I would say there will be at least 2 remaster announcements per press conference that we watch.
Whoa.
That's bold.
Yeah.
That's a bold boy.
Oh yeah.
I don't want
I'm in there. I'm in deep. I'm making that call.
I'm saying less than 5 total.
I will give
splash it out.
I will give each of you $5 US. If I'm incorrect about that, $5. You could get with that. You get a sandwich. You get a $5 footlong.
He's saying if one conference.
That's an official bet.
Misses one game, we get $5 each. Like misses one remaster.
Yeah, like eventually.
You said 2 per.
I'm good for it, man.
I don't doubt it. I'm just saying.
Don't worry.
Okay.
No, I'm definitely I think it'll be 2 per conference. At the very least, I would say we'll get 2 from Bethesda, 2 from Sony, and 2 from Microsoft. But the others, I still think we will. But I would say those 3 I'm confident about.
Okie dokie. Fair enough. I hope for less.
Speaking of, I already know Bethesda's got one. It's going to be Dishonored. Their remastered version.
There goes that one.
Has it
come
out? Yeah.
Oh, they're remastering.
They're remastering the first one in conjunction with the second game.
Yep, but more importantly, Dishonored 2.
Yeah,
that'll look good because the first one it looked good, but it could look better.
Yeah,
I mean, a good game.
They could always look better, but for me, I played a lot of these remasters, and the only one that I've played that I can genuinely say was such a huge leap that it's that noticeable was The Last of Us, I mean, a lot of it's not like actual visual stuff; it's frame rate, Yeah,
it's mostly just that the game runs at 60 now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole remaster.
I mean, The Last of Us is different in the fact that it actually does look visually better for a lot of reasons. But like DMC, I just got done playing Devil May Cry, and that was just the frame rate. Otherwise, it's like these games all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? There has actually been rumored, and I don't have a source here, so we're just gonna kind of talk about this one on a bit of a casual end. Skyrim remaster.
Oh yeah, I did hear that rumor.
I've heard about that.
Why? Just play it on PC.
I really hope not. Elder Scrolls 6? Sure, let's talk. I don't ever want to play Skyrim again. I mean, it's don't get me wrong. I had fun with it, but it's like after playing Elder Scrolls Online, it's just such a huge difference. Mainly because one's an MMO and one's not, but also because like ESO looks good. It looks really
and
good.
ESO also has a good combat system.
Yeah,
Skyrim
exactly.
doesn't.
It's like everything about Skyrim that's bad is rooted not in the way the game looks, but everything else.
Yeah.
The dungeons were kind of meh. We've ranted on the other talk show we did about Skyrim like countless times, so I don't want to get back into that tangent again.
I don't want to destroy it too much.
But for Jeremy and I, it's a pretty mutual distaste for the game overall. I think the phrase he used was wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle, and I think I want to leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, if they remaster it, that'd be weird and wrong. So I hope they announce Elder Scrolls 6.
That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. You know what I'm really hoping for is two things. One, I've already said, and that was the Bad Company 3 announcement, which isn't going to happen because they're making Battlefield 1. So instead, I'm going to fine tune that thing. Fine tune it and say, I just hope that they show off Battlefield 1 with the destruction physics of Bad Company 2, or what I'd hope Bad Company 3 would look like. Because please, dear Jesus, do I want that so badly with what they had for destruction in Bad Company 2. It was so right. Yeah. And so they just gotta throw it in.
That's EA,
Battlefield 1.
Right?
It is EA.
You'll be pleased to know that they're our first conference, so...
Ooh, maybe.
So anything we're going to find out about that, we're going to find out Sunday.
I hope to be screaming and shouting on Sunday.
Ooh, you
with
know what?
joy.
Why don't I do us a quick favor here, and I'm gonna... I don't know how I can add this. Yes, I do. I'm gonna do this in like a not that pretty way, but I'm gonna pull up our schedule. So
heck yeah, let's look at it.
Let's take a look at our sketch.
Look at the 6 sketch.
And I'm gonna increase the font on that by a lot. And then just letting it be noted, we are broadcasting from the East Coast, and so everything is in Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
Alright, that's good. Nope, that's not good. Okay, good enough. So we are starting Sunday, this Sunday, June 12th, at 3:45 p.m. is when we plan to start the stream, and that is for EA, and we'll be streaming till probably about 6. This is a rough estimate, given how long we think they're going to take, in conjunction with how long we want to do a little bit of post-chatter, just to sort of reflect on things and see how we feel they did. Then we're going to take an intermission, and then return around 9:30, 9:45 for Bethesda, who will be starting their presentation at 10. Last year it was only an hour, so I'm assuming it'll be that. And then it'll be 11 p.m. for us, which will be late and we'll be kind of tired. So probably
pretty late.
Probably a little bit less of the post-chatter for that one.
That's an incredibly long stream.
Monday, June 13th, that's the busy day. So we've got 12:30 to 2, which will be Microsoft. And they're one of the big ones, so we're going to try to have everybody here for that. And then we'll take a break, come back 4 to 6, Ubisoft, probably less than 4 to 6, but, you know, I'm leaving us room to wiggle. And then Sony, 9 to 11 p.m. That's also going to be, that'll be the last late night stream. So, and that'll probably be the biggest conference. I'm sorry, last year they did the best job, and I think they're going to do the best job again this year. So that's the one that we're really going to be sort of putting most of our energy into. And then finally Tuesday, June 14th, we're going to try, depending on what they're actually doing, to cover Nintendo. From noon to 2 is what I have blocked out here, but we have no idea what that could entail. And then also, we're just going to be, between here and MMOExaminer, there'll be plenty of coverage for show floor stuff. So, like, articles about, I know we're going to talk about Blizzard and Nexon and, you know, a lot of these big companies and what they have going on. So, yeah, basically, stay tuned for that. And that is the last of what I have for the E3 stuff until Sunday. So, we are just going to do our game of the week, and then we're going to close it out.
Radical sabbatical.
Whoever has a game of the week ready, you know, one of you guys can start us off.
Yeah.
Well, I can go ahead and recommend a mobile game. It is called Non-Stop Night. Looks like that.
Nice.
It is a glorified cookie clicker, or I guess just the clicker genre type of game, like Adventure Capitalist, where basically the only thing that's different is that instead of just the visuals of getting money, you actually have a little knight that runs around a dungeon and fights stuff.
Whoa!
And you also have like little skills that you can use, because occasionally there's boss fights and stuff. And you can upgrade like your weapon and your armor and your cape, and you get drops by doing boss fights. It's a blast. I mean, at its core, it's just a clicker game. You open it up once every like hour and a half, play for 30 seconds, and then the rest of the game runs in the background. But it's really, really cute. It's really solid, very squishy, and all in all, I would say, aside from when I first played Cookie Clicker, it's the best clicker game I've ever played.
Cool. It's a little night game that plays itself.
James, you got us?
Yeah, it's
very exciting.
It's very cute.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Honestly, I have been crazy slammed, and whenever I get free time, I play Overwatch. However, I was in
Your
the
game of the week
doctor's.
is Max, then?
It's 3DS Max and Substance Painter. Substance Painter, get it now on Steam.
Wow.
I've been doing a lot of Substance Painter. No, I was in the doctor's office the other day, and I ended up waiting over half an hour for my doctor to come in, which was annoying. So I turned to Crossy Road to get me by. And it has changed since the last time I've seen it. They have a whole new Pac-Man mode, where instead of the regular map of cars going by and trains and stuff, it's all neon, and all the cars are the ghosts, and you're Pac-Man. And instead of getting as far as you can,
it's like the plot
there's
of Pixels.
also yeah. Except Pac-Man isn't the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
The bad guy.
But you also have this mode where you collect the like little nuggets or whatever that Pac-Man likes to eat. I don't know what they're supposed to be. Little points. So you run around the map and try to go out of your way to get those points for like a different high score. So that in itself is its own game. But yeah, I got to restart on Crossy Road. That's a very addicting game that was big last year, I guess, more so.
Yeah, I think last year.
Yeah. Not exactly a new game, but I love it, so
yeah.
Best I could give you.
Alright. My game of the week actually is going to be Asura's Wrath for the PS3, Xbox 360, and it's on PS Now. I don't have a genre to give you because this is literally a playable anime. It's basically just, it's literally divided into episodes with like different end credits for each episode and then like an intermission halfway through. It's so weird the way it's structured, but it's an incredible game. I actually just finished it today, and I mean I finished it in the sense that I finished the free ending. It's a Capcom game, so the actual ending is still separate DLC, but I caved and bought it, and I normally wouldn't, but I think that this game was very earning of it. CyberConnect 2 is the developer. They also developed the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games, and they are incredible. The game's soundtrack, its visuals, its controls, everything is super comfortable and awesome. Everything about it except the fact that it was published by Capcom is good. So I would definitely recommend it. So yeah, that's my game of the week, and we're now coming up on 8 o'clock. So just one last reminder. Okay, I'm going to pull up the window again. Sunday, June 12th at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Standard is when we will start our E3 stream for EA. So
come hang out with us.
Tune in at that time.
Come hang.
This is the best way to enjoy E3 with a couple of industry smart guys who know a little bit about what we're talking about. So,
we're pretty smart.
And a lovely Muggachini.
Yeah. Again, special thanks to James. I'm going to get you out of the way here so we can see the logo clear. Special thanks to MMOExaminer, again, for your partnership and help in this E3 stream. And, of course, thanks to my guys for coming and being on the show. So, alright, I guess we're going to call it quits for our third episode. So, thank you guys for tuning in, and come back Sunday for live E3 coverage. James, that was a weird stretch, dude, for you to join.
I apologize.
Are you kidding me? Are you for real right now? You need to cool it. We can't do this. We're live. Enough.
We're sorry.
I'm sorry.
So close to. So close to the end too.
Yeah. All right. So.
I can't believe I ruined it at the end.
Again. Okay. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and come back Sunday for more from the game room. Oh my God, James, you need to quit it. All right. 10 seconds just to account for the delay, and then I'm going to stop the recording.
Very nice. Very nice.